who's a real hero.
Hey everyone, welcome to What the Flick. Ben Mankiewicz, Christy, Lemire, here to talk about the what will always be, I think, referred to as Paul Walker's final movie,
yes.
Brick Mansions. I didn't see it last night, a traffic issue.
We had traffic in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
perhaps you've heard of it.
Some days it's inexplicably immovable, and last night was one of them. But I've read a lot about it, so let me ask you about this. Okay. This is a remake, first of all, right?
It's a remake of District B13. Which is a French action movie, but it came out in 2006 in the US. And it's really similar, like down to character names and plot points, and the big chase at the very, very beginning when the David Belle character, who David Belle is in it again, the guy who created Parkour, is back to do the same exact role. When he evades all the bad guys who are after him, once he pours the drugs down the bathtub, it's like identical, except when he leaps from one rooftop to the other, there's a grenade explosion behind him this time, so he's like leaping from fire because we like to blow shit up in America. America. It's basically District B13, so if you've seen that, you have seen this. Take a look.
There's a situation that demands the best of the best.
We know where. Brick Mansions.
Who's my father?
Let's go make him pay.
Prepare for war.
You mentioned that it's a remake of District B13, but that movie made just over $1 million in the U.S., so that was not seen by hardly anyone.
It was not, and so you have the allure here of, I think, Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Much more so than you might have previously. And there's some really eerie stuff that happens in this. I mean,
because he does some driving.
There's driving, and there's car stuff in general. He crashes a car at one point that he's driving. He's holding onto the back of a car, trying to grab on because these bad guys are trying to get away from him, and then he figures out a way to get in the car and kick the bad guys out because no one wears seatbelts in this movie.
Sure. Right.
It's just like, pow, get out of the car.
It's set. It was the original set in Paris. This is set in
Detroit.
Detroit. Yeah.
Yes, in a dystopian future, which basically is now.
Right. Yeah.
And they've walled off all
which
these.
is June.
Right.
Yeah,
Next week.
Yeah.
They've walled off all these apartment complexes, and basically, like, there's no more schools, no more police. Everyone's corrupt. Everyone's dirty, and the mayor wants to blow up this part of town to rebuild it as some gleaming, wonderful complex. And so Paul Walker and the David Belle character end up teaming up unknowingly to help in that. And the RZA is, from the Wu-Tang Clan, is now your bad guy. The running joke with him is that you know he's evil because he's impeccably dressed and he's always like finely chopping vegetables for some very gourmet recipe that he's working on very calmly. So
I've been watching Hannibal. Is he eating people? Because it turns out in television, if you're chopping vegetables like this, you're also including a leg.
No, this is a lot of hot pepper. So it's fun and it's mindless, and it also, though, reminds you that Paul Walker was really good at this kind of role. Like, I think he knew what his purpose was. If you look at all the Fast and Furious movies, if you look at this, which is even much more physically demanding, he knew it was his job to be the strong, stoic center and let all the craziness happen around him, let the supporting characters be wild and sadistic and crazy and bloodthirsty. Someone's got to be the foundation, and he knew he was that, and he was good at that.
It's an inevitability of being human that you speculate about a guy like Paul Walker. He made movies that were not dramatically demanding. They weren't bad movies. Some of them, as we know, some of the Fast and Furious movies are quite good for what they are, but they weren't dramatically demanding. And he was so handsome.
Oh my God.
So it's very easy to think that this was just another handsome guy who happened to stumble into acting because he was so handsome. But I think there's enough in his biography, in his resume, that he's a pretty good actor, and obviously, as we learned from a zillion people, he would have gotten even better. And there were probably, at some point, the older he got, I suspect there would have been some dramatic roles, and he probably would have done them pretty well.
Yeah, I don't know that he necessarily gets a chance to show up a whole lot of range if you look back at the films he made, but he gets a chance to be a little funny here because so much of the parkour is so ridiculous. And while Paul Walker is, you know, a tough undercover detective in this, he doesn't know how to like swing through windows and across buildings, and so his reaction to the over-the-top nature of his partner's physicality is always kind of good for a laugh. And, you know, he's not trying to do complicated satire.
Right, yeah, but I mean, he didn't, you know, I mean, they're just guys who are that handsome. you know, it took us a while to realize that, hey, you know what, turns out George Clooney knows what he's doing.
Right.
You know, and Brad Pitt, and there's a zillion others. And I think you see enough of Paul Walker. We don't to think that it would have been. I just think it was you know, obviously it was a loss to Hollywood. But I think it would have been interesting, and I like seeing those guys age as and what they do later as their face changes and they become incredibly handsome at 50. You know, it's a different thing. He's not Vin Diesel. He wouldn't have had the trajectory of Vin Diesel. It would have been different. I think for Paul Walker.
Yeah, more opportunities for kinds of shading, whatever. He was 40, right? 39, 40. I mean, he was starting to look a little older, and he was getting more handsome in a different way. Anyway, it's they were giving out these little buttons last night at the ArcLight, these little I Heart PW buttons, and there's a nice little in memoriam thing at the end of the movie. And you know, there is the notion that this is exploitative and really cringe-inducing to put this movie out with the kind of car activity that goes on in it so soon after his death, but I think it's sort of a nice tribute to what he could do well.
And what are you going to do? Look, they made the movie. I mean, it's a terrible thing that happened, but I mean, I think that, you know, they made the movie. People invested money in it. They're allowed to get their money back. I think everybody gets that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a real argument that somehow it shouldn't get released.
Yeah, no, it should get released, and it will do better than it would have, I suspect. But I think that comes from a kind-hearted place. That audiences want to go back and celebrate what he was good at. So I mean, there were a lot of applause. People don't usually applaud at screenings.
Yeah,
there were a lot of applause for him last night.
And people who worked with him really liked him. He was clearly a likable guy.
Anyway, so I would give this like a 7. It's a solid, fun, like down and dirty action movie. It does not do anything new or different, especially compared to the original, but I had a good time.
Okay, Brick Mansions. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.